Good morning. Welcome to the Best Getting Better. Every Monday. Pretty soon it'll be every Monday and every Saturday, every Sunday, every day. The Best Getting Better every day. So my name is Steve Lentini, and what I do is help people think differently, approach their lives differently, and help people to recognize that thinking above their thinking. So it's called waking them up to have a life of power and joy and satisfaction. It's not about material things and money, and material things are wonderful, but they're just fun. They're impermanent. So if you've ever seen a skull bracelet, or if you've seen people wearing things that have a skull on them, sometimes they think that's a negative connotation. It's like, wow, what are these people doing? Why do they have a skull? And the skull, so that you know, is a symbol of the impermanence of all of life. So people that are wearing those things, and sometimes I have a skull bracelet and sometimes I wear it. I'm not wearing it today, but it reminds me to be in the moment. It reminds me to be fully present. So here's the thing about being fully present. You don't have to worry about what you do in life. You just bring your presence with you. You remind yourself to be present. No judging the moment, no judging people, no gossiping about people. You're just in the moment. And when you're selling something, by being fully present, it's called being mindful. Your clients notice it. They know something about you because you're not there for commission. You're not there for commission. You're not there for your pocketbook. You think you're there for your paycheck. And yeah, it's a wonderful thing to have your paycheck grow. Like I said, material things are not the purpose of this kind of work. And people who are mindful typically, have a much more enjoyable life. They're happier. And typically they have plenty of money because they're doing and living their purpose in life. They're bringing their gifts to the world. So it's called magnanimity. It's being magnanimous. It's just giving. Withholding your gifts, let's suppose that you're doing something just for the money, right? You're truly withholding the gifts and talents that you have inside. That would be like Derek Jeter playing football, right? He was born with the gifts of being a tremendous shortstop and baseball player. As an athlete, could he have played football? Maybe this is not the greatest analogy. Well, let's say, let's use a minister decides he's going to be a basketball player. It probably wouldn't have been as successful, especially if he was 5'8". But let's just suppose you're a minister and you want to be a basketball player for the money, right? If you don't have the gift and talent, you're never going to make it. So that's an easier analogy. B, if you're withholding your gifts and here you are struggling trying to become a basketball player and you don't have the gifts, you don't have the talents, you're not going to even get the money. You're not even going to get the money. The gifts won't come because you're not giving the gifts. You won't do well because you're struggling. So if you're Derek Jeter and you decide to be a catcher, I don't know, maybe he could have been a catcher, but his gifts were obviously offensively and defensively as a shortstop on the field. Maybe he could have played another infield position, but if he withheld his gifts, it would have been a struggle. So let's say that you're selling something that you really don't believe in. Now you're going to be in a constant struggle in your mind, and you will not have the financial reward that you would have if you'd sold something you love or worked for a company that you love. Let's say you work in a company and you're struggling. Let's say you don't really want to be a salesperson, but there's another job for you. You'd probably be better off taking that other job rather than continuing to struggle in sales. You get my point? You have to do whatever your gifts, where your gifts and talents are, and when you go where your gifts and talents are, you're being magnanimous, you're giving, and then you'll get rewarded for it, because what employer wouldn't want someone who's very talented? Let's say you become the warehouse manager. What company wouldn't want the guy who's very talented, can motivate people and management people, but let's say the person's out in sales struggling. I'm using a true story. I know an example of a guy who people liked him, but he struggled in sales, and he didn't like that constant scrutiny of his sales effort. It just didn't come naturally to him. And so he's doing something else. He went in the warehouse to manage the warehouse, and the company loves him in that position. He's good in that position because he feels better. He's more comfortable. So my point is, you have to find your sweet spot and do what feels good for you and is comfortable. If you're fighting it, then you don't belong doing what you're doing in work. When you do what you love, money will come. Here's one here. Money will come when you're doing the right thing. I have another saying here. When you do what serves the future. I don't think you can see this one here. Let me move it. When you do what serves the future, money is abundant with you. So I'm constantly reminding myself by the way, this thing here is the microphone. And then I have lights around me so that I'm well lit. And it's important that I do what I love, and this is what I love. I love helping people succeed, and I have a lot of clients that reach a different level of success. A, they're happier in their life. B, if they're in sales, they do sell more than they've ever sold. If they're in business and leading a company, my experience is when they begin to change their thinking and they know the power that they have to create a future by projecting their thinking and leading people in the direction that they want to go. And by leading people in the direction they want to go, they're on purpose with their words and their speaking and their thinking, and they keep people focused on the solution. And when there's a challenge, they get the challenge. Some people call it a problem. I don't like the word problem. Let's call it a challenge. And once we understand the challenge, all right, let's shift our thinking to the solution. And let's not stay focused on the challenge or the problem. The reason for that is called the law of increase. What you focus on increases. So what I want to encourage everyone to do is to get to that level of thinking where they notice their thinking. I was just talking to someone who noticed wherever she runs into a block, her mind goes right to the problem, and she's beginning to notice it. And so she did the opposite of what her mind wanted her to do this weekend. Her mind said, oh, it's too far, don't go there, you won't find what you're looking for. That's what her brain was saying. And she went against it, made the hour-and-a-half drive one way, found what she was looking for in abundance, came back with them, and has already sold 3 of what she found. Okay, so my point there is she went against her thinking. And it seemed uncomfortable. Her brain didn't want her to do it. Her brain had all the reasons why not to do it, and she did it anyway. Okay, so before we get into today, Sales Success for the Rookie, my new book, it's out on Amazon. There's new chapters in here. It's updated. There's chapters on multi-level marketing. There's chapters on social media. Anyway, so Sales Success for the Rookie, it's just out a couple weeks ago. It's now on Amazon. How to Succeed in Sales Right from the Start. All right, a lot of great stuff in here. The way I wrote it, there's tips. And already people have commented on how it's a great read. It's a quick read. Imagine 30 Days to a New You. I'm a contributing author. This is published by Justin Sachs, who is the owner of Motivational Press. And Motivational Press is the Motivational Press. It says right here, Motivational Press is the publisher of my book, Sales Success for the Rookie. And Justin, this is a great company. If you're thinking about publishing a book, these guys do everything they say they're going to do. And the people that I worked with for editing and for any part of the work, whether it's marketing or editing, they're really good people. Justin's got some great people working for him, and you can trust this company. They'll do what they say that they'll do. And let me just adjust the light a little bit. Maybe it should go this way. There we go. That's a little brighter. Okay. The other book I have is Wake Up, Jump Into Your Life. And this is This is a self-help book, self-help in that you can direct yourself to change your thinking and create a new life. And here's my subtitles. What is the wake that you're leaving behind, right? Everything you put out as an energy in life is leaving a wake behind, and that's what you manage. You can manage. A lot of people don't, but you are the sum total. Right now, your life is the sum total of all the energy you've put out up until now. What do your thoughts, words, and actions say to others? What do your thoughts, words, and actions say to others? Everything creates a wake, and you can put out the wake that you choose by consciously thinking about, before you do anything, say anything, you have enough time to slow things down, breathe, come back into your body, and think, all right, what is this asking me to do? How can I learn? How can I grow? What would be a new response in this situation for me? And what is it that will come back? What will be the wake that I'll leave behind with this decision? And by slowing things down a little bit, you can perhaps make much better choices and have a new return coming to you, right? You're the cause. You're the cause of the sound, right? I'm the cause right now of this sound. And so as I change it, the light is falling on me, right? What does that say? So as I change it, I get a new response. And that's how it works in life. Same thing. As you change things up, you get a new response. And that's the beauty of it, is that once you change, things change. And it's immediate. It's immediate. You may have the residual of called karma of things you've put out a long time ago. It takes a while for those to adjust themselves and work through. So then you see the negative, you see the results of any negative energy. And I have to tell you that the beauty is it's returning faster and faster, so that anything negative you put out returns quicker. Anything positive you put out returns quicker. And so the only thing you can manage is the energy in what you put out. Ralph Waldo Emerson, in his essay, The Law of Compensation, said that you are earning what you should be earning. You're getting what you deserve right now. And you can change that. So if you're unhappy about where you are in your life, if you're unhappy about what you're earning, if you're unhappy about your job, you can change your mind about it. A, you can stay in the same job and just change your mind about it. Approach it with some gratitude. B, you could change it. And so the beauty of living in this country is that we have a lot to be grateful for, and that we can change. In a lot of places, people are stuck because of the way the country is structured, which, by the way, is the result of their collective consciousness. So this is a country that's an accumulation of people that have the collective consciousness of, we can do anything. And that's the kind of leaders we want too, that remind us that we're not victims. We don't need to be taken care of by this gigantic government. No, I mean, that's the large bureaucracies over time just create more things to tax people over. We're a country of doers, and we're a country of resilient characters. So we've always demonstrated a resilience, and we've also always wanted to control as much of our destiny as we can. And those are the kind of leaders we want to elect, people that allow us to have as much freedom as possible and make as many choices as possible. We don't need to be protected by Big Brother. We don't. Those are other kind of countries. Our choices is living in a world where we have the most influence over our destiny. That's what Americans like. Okay, so I've been invited, I've been identified as a innovator by IBM Vision. These are just some of my notes, because they're flying me to Orlando next week from the 9th to the 12th, and I'm their guest. All expenses paid in Orlando at IBM Vision, because I've been identified by Watson Analytics as an innovator, and so I'll be down there sharing my thoughts and views about sales and selling and managing salespeople. Okay, so today let's talk about how you show up and how it affects your sales. and how you're thinking. You can change your thinking to impact your sales and be more positive. Okay, so we were just talking about recognizing the level of thinking above your thinking and how important that is. So a lot of salespeople don't believe they need coaching, and some have get out of college or get out of high school and then they never read another thing again because they believe they don't need to. Here's the challenge with that. The dynamics of communication are such that people are looking for something new in how they're approached. And this is true in selling today. They're looking for, they feel comfortable with someone who wants to help them buy, as opposed to the old backslapper and bagel bringer and, you know, the guy that was wanting to ingratiate himself and even provide a kickback. A lot of that is an old thought process, and more people accepting kickbacks are getting exposed, and eventually that kind of selling is going to be, I'm just adjusting the light here. Let's just see how this makes, there, that makes more sense. How's that? No, that's not good. Okay, that's pretty good. So what they're looking for, what people are looking for today, they have a lot of ways to gather information about what they're buying. So they can go to the web, right? So by going to the web, they already have, I have to get a new way to set this light up. Yeah, that's good. All right, stay there. So even better like that. So today, people have a lot of information and ways to get information. And what they're looking for in a salesperson is someone, A, who can challenge their thinking. So they're looking for someone who can listen, right? Help them hear whether they've made the right choice or not. And if not, is willing to challenge them. And so they trust that person. So that person is a trusted advisor. And the buzzword consultative salesman, consultative selling is getting worn out. This is about being mindful and being present and being there to help. So that's really the goal today, is you want to help people buy. You want to help people buy. That's a little brighter. Okay. Sorry for the distraction. And so if your mind, by the way, is going, oh, look, Steve doesn't have the most perfect webinar. So what? Get over it. I'm here to help. And if you'll shut off that voice, that judgment voice, you're going to learn something, right? I know I've been working on shutting that judgment voice off for 40 years, and I have people around me that coach me about that. And it's a journey. You don't ever reach perfection. And that's the challenge with a lot of salespeople. They don't think they ever need any coaching. And if you talk to most salespeople, they'll all tell you how to sell. They'll all tell you the greatest way to sell. Okay. And a lot of them are flat and stuck, or they're doing things an old way, and they're expecting to continue to have the result they've been having. And by the way, you keep doing what you're doing and expecting a new result. It's the definition of insanity. You have to be proactively changing to have something new occur. So we've got new dynamic. We have the internet. We have people doing a lot of research about what they're going to buy before you get there, before they buy it. You get there because of a referral, or they do some research, or you happen to have a timely cold call. I believe cold calls are still effective if they're called, if you call on an outrageous target of a large, your ideal customer. Identify your ideal customer, make your cold calls only on those that fit in the ideal, and call high enough. So call at the very important top officer, Vito. Great book, by the way. There's a couple of editions of it. Vito. And so you want to be calling high enough, because my observation is most salespeople do not call high enough. And how many calls do you think the president gets? Not that many, because salespeople would rather call low because then they don't feel so rejected. But here's the thing, your job is not to sell anything, it's to help people buy. Your job today is to help people buy. And your job in the beginning is to get out and meet people, which I talk about in my rookie book, right? Is your job is to get out and meet people. Then you'll sell something. You can always say, I'm new in sales. I'm not here to sell anything for now. And if you were me, who would you call on? Can you give me a name? Without getting into trouble. Some people are gatekeepers and they get into trouble if they give a name out. Excuse me. So the buyer has the opportunity today to gather a lot of information. When you get there, they've already know a lot about you, or they know even more about your competition and they want to discover more about you. Here's the thing. You have to be, one, prepare to understand who they are, be prepared, and you have to be prepared with questions, because your job is to get information, not give it. And the only way they're going to get comfortable with you and trust you faster is to have questions and to show them you're really concerned about making sure they get the right solution, whether it's you or not, Once they get the right solution, once you hear what they're looking for, then you can determine if you have the right solution for them or not. If you do, you could say, I think we have a fit. I think I've got a solution for you. Here's what I hear you saying, and here's what I hear that I think that you need. And then you go back over what you think you heard, and you make sure that's what you heard. And you let the customer and the prospect verify it, and you validate them along the way. And here's what that looks like. So here's what I've heard so far, Mary. You said the company is doing this, this, and this, and it's causing this, this, and this. Here's what happened in the past when you change. You go past, present, future. Here's what's happening today, and here's what you'd like the future to look like. Do I have it right? Is there anything to add? Did I miss anything? Okay, here's what we would recommend. Before I go there, let me ask you, what have you looked at so far? Where are you in that process? Anything you liked? Okay, here's what we would do. Here's what we recommend. I can give you 3 quick things. How does that sound to you? What do we do now? What's the next step? Let them determine what the next step is. You don't have to have a close. You don't have to have a close. If it's working and you have something that sounds like it would be a fit, you don't have to worry about it. Okay. I can't teach you the whole system in 12 minutes. So if you're following somewhat of a system, which is you're spending some time getting to know them, letting them get to know you, it's called bonding. You're matching and mirroring the energy you're getting from the person, and you're projecting what you can control, which is your energy. You're projecting the I want to help you energy because you really want to help them buy, right? Not because it's some kind of a game you're playing. You're not attached to an outcome. You don't have commission breath. I call it commission breath. Yeah. People understand if you're there with your agenda only trying to make a commission and trying to make more money. And eventually you lose customers like that. You may close, you don't hang on to them long because they go to the next person, someone that makes them feel better, someone that they trust, and or someone that it doesn't seem like they're out for themselves. That's what you have to be aware of. Okay, so then when you've done enough questioning and going back and forth, not you talking about your company, but the customer talking 70 to 80% of the time. Yeah, 70 to 80% of the time, because you're helping them hear whether they need you or not. And you're also hearing whether they're a fit. That's the other thing, is you have to have a walk away point. a place that you would say, I'm sorry, I couldn't say yes to that. And would you like to hear why we wouldn't be able to do that? Because some people, why? Some prospects have unrealistic expectations. What are you going to do? Get enrolled in their system? And then a lot of guys will say, well, I'll make them a better customer later. That typically doesn't work. It typically doesn't work. So now, because you're not attached to outcomes, the only thing you can control is your behavior. So you're making enough calls, you have enough activity in your pipeline, and the company can easily identify that you have a pipeline. A lot of salespeople, a lot of owners don't want to manage salespeople. They don't want to be bothered with it. And when someone comes in to help manage a little bit, this minute the salespeople start whining, they stab that leader in the back by they take away that leader's power by listening. Oh, we don't want to fill out this report. We don't want to work on the CRM. We don't want to fill out this sales pipeline management tool. Yeah, because then everybody knows what they're working on. And a lot of salespeople make stuff up, sadly. And they don't want to be held. They don't want to hold their feet to the fire. The thing is, salespeople, the only thing they can control is their behavior. And if they're making enough calls, you can help them. You can see where in the system that the deals fall apart. Maybe they don't really do a good job in the decision process or understanding what the budget is, or maybe they're not asking enough good questions and people don't trust them. And you can figure that out if you understand their pipeline and where they are in the process, and salespeople should be able to fill that out in 20 minutes a week, right? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's BS if they whine and they tell you that they don't want to fill it out. It's too much work. And who's running the company anyway? You or them? Don't let the tail wag the dog. Okay, and you have a right to have that information if you're a manager. You have a right to understand what are they doing. And when you coach them, you can keep encouraging them about their behavior. Hey, I don't see enough in your pipeline. I'm concerned about 3 months from now. I'm not concerned about today. Let's talk about getting you in front of some more people. So what are you doing for networking? What events are you attending? Who are you cold calling? What about referrals? So then you go through a coaching process with them and work on helping them. Now, once you've got the prospect at a place where you've helped them hear whether they need you or not, you've gone down their list of concerns, you repeat it, and you ask the question, did I get everything? Is that correct? By the way, as you're going through what they've listed as concerns, here's where you are today. Here's what you've done in the past to fix it. Here's what worked. Here's what didn't work. Here's where you'd like to go in the future, what you'd like to have. The ideal future. Do I have it? Yeah. Some of these problems, by the way, we run into it. We hear it all the time, and we've got solutions for it. So you're not alone. These are not things that only you're experiencing in your business. You validate their concerns because you would want to, not because it's a tactic or a technique. You don't need one if you're real, if you're mindful, you're really there to help. You don't need a tactic. You don't need an alternate event close. Then you say, all right, so based on what you've heard so far, you heard what we have generally for a solution. How do you feel about it? Okay, great. If you've done your job, you understand that you've got a solution that would fit. Because other than that, you'd say, gee, after hearing everything that you need and some of the things you're considering, I'm not sure that we're a fit. I'm even a little uncomfortable saying it. I'm not sure we're a fit, because you would really feel that what your solution maybe is way too big for them. Geez, our solution, I gave you just a tidbit of the 3 major things that we do for people. Our solution is $75,000 to $100,000. I'm a little concerned it's way too broad for what you do. What if it is? They'd say, oh, gee, we've only got $15,000 in the budget. Oh, okay. I've got a few names of companies that can help you. And if you change your mind, or the solution doesn't work, if you've got more resources to allocate and you want me to come back, I'm glad to come back. Just understand that that's the range we work in, 75 to 100,000. And now you can walk away very congenially, right? I couldn't say yes to that. Here's what we could say yes to. And they go, oh, gee, no, we've only got $15,000 set aside. Now you help them find somebody. I like to have a cadre of solution providers, knowing that if I reach that place where I have to walk away, I still can help the customer. And you have people that you know you can rely on because you worked with them and you know they deliver what they say they're going to deliver, and you can refer them and you can recommend them highly. We've recommended these people in situations just like yours. They've done a great job. I followed up to check. What's it take? A phone call to follow up and check, and then you're the expert. See, that's the thing. Malcolm Gladwell calls it in his book, The Tipping Point, 10,000 hours. When you reach 10,000 hours of work in your field, then you're an expert and you can be considered an expert. And that's the place that you want to get so that you can use what Matthew Dixon talks about in the Challenger Sale. Great book. You want to be that trusted advisor that can challenge them with their thinking. You know, from what I'm hearing, you're saying you only got $15,000 set aside, but what did you say it was costing you again? Let's go back. Do you mind if I go back through the notes? Didn't you say it's costing you $100,000 a year or more? So if you spent $75,000 or $80,000 or $100,000, even $120,000 with us, you'd get that back in less than 2 years. Doesn't that make sense to investigate this? Can I meet with the people that are setting the budget at $15,000? Have you looked at what some of those solutions for $15,000? Have you talked to people about what they got for their money? Some of them are great solutions. I don't think they're going to fit here with your challenges. So now you've challenged their thinking because you heard that it was costing them $125,000 a year or more not to fix it, or their current solution was costing them that. And they understand that the productivity loss, whatever, the error, the time fixing errors is costing them $125,000 a year, or $100,000 to $125,000. Now their return on investment with you, even if they spend $120,000, is less than 2 years. It's less than a year and a half. A year and a half would be $150,000. Their cost, if their problem was costing them $100,000 a year and a half is $150,000. If your solution's 120, 130, 150, they've got a payback right after a year and a half. What should we do? Can I help you with this? You want to set up another meeting with the budget people and we can go over what our ideas are? If you set up that meeting, what I'd like to do is leave that meeting so that you know with a commitment that we would be your solution provider, and we'll map out the whole solution once we agree that we're going to be the solution provider. Can we agree? Do you think we can safely agree to that? You see what you're doing? Before you bring them the whole solution, you're getting them to agree that you'll be the solution provider at the end of that next meeting. And then we can, once we determine that we're going to be the solution provider, we'll work up an outline of how things are going to look next, and we'll both sign it and we'll follow that outline. But let's not, all I want to do is agree that we could get to that at the next meeting. Does that sound reasonable? That's the place that you want to get to, because you're truly helping people. That's where the future's going. If you're not there, unless you sell a commodity, if you sell toilet paper or food, you could have your brand of food, and yes, it could taste better and people can try it. And if you have a brand of food that's made by the same manufacturer and people basically are going to taste it and say, well, I don't know, I don't taste a lot of difference. A commodity salesperson doesn't have to have a lot of sales skills, and most don't, because that's what happens. Water rises, seeks its own level, and so what happens is those industries have less skilled salespeople. So when you're selling some of the people that I that I coach sell genome mapping software, for example, or they sell healthcare equipment into hospitals. and in pain delivery management into healthcare centers and hospitals. And those are more complicated sales. And so, and it's very important to have those skills of wanting to help people, because who's going to spend $1 million or $500,000 just because somebody slaps them in the back and brings them bagels? That's it's not a fit. They need people with some more skills, and they have to sense that the people in front of them are skilled and trustworthy. Okay, so this is the kind of work for people with a higher level of ability and the demand for a higher level of ability. And if you take the time to learn this, then you'll get a tremendous payback. And that's been the results that I've achieved with many clients. And you can go to a lot of different places to learn systems like the Sandler Sales Institute, the Challenger Sale, the Jeffrey Thull system, the Mastering the Complex Sale, Miller Hyman, Jeffrey Gitomer. There's a lot of people out there teaching great stuff where the key is for you to invest the time to learn a skill and elevate yourself. Okay, so we've got another week under the belt. Next week is going to be a Saturday because I'll be traveling on Monday, and a lot of Saturdays are bonus days. And so when I have my schedule allows, I will be adding in a seminar, a webinar on Saturdays. And so next Saturday, they'll replace Monday because I'll be on a plane until in the early afternoon, flying to Vision 2016 as a VIP for IBM. And I'm grateful and honored that IBM selected me. Okay, again, my book, Steve Lentini, by me, Sales Success for the Rookie, How to Succeed at Sales Right from the Start. Go to Amazon. Imagine 30 Days to a New You. I'm one of the contributing authors, and it's a great book published by Motivational Press, the same publisher that published my book, Sales Success for the Rookie. This is my workbook. I've published this. Wake Up, Jump Into Your Life. It's $49.95 because if you do the exercises, if you buy the book, you also get an hour's worth of coaching from me, which is a $300 or more value. Okay? So Wake Up, Jump Into Your Life is on my website, stevelentini.com. stevelentini.com or prosperityinstitute.com. And you can email me, Steve at stevelentini.com, STEVE at STEVELEN, L as in Linda, ENT as in Tom, INI, Steve at stevelentini.com, or SL at S as in Sam, L as in Linda, at Prosperity Institute, PROSPER, there it is behind me, ITY, prosperityinstitute.com. I'm grateful. If you want to call me, 917-805-1088, 917-805-1088. I'm grateful. Keep growing. The best getting better. Thank you. Join me.